Off air and it's
We're
live.
live.
Hey, all right. Well, hey, welcome everyone. Episode 88 of Mirrorless Minutes. And if you look down on the bottom or you see who's here, you're going, where the heck is Jamie at? And Jamie we're doing role reversal, I think, today. Jamie's out traveling for his job, which is normal, and I'm sitting at home. Uh, Very unusual, actual filling for me to start the show. But tonight we have with us Megan Crandlemeir down here,
Hello.
as well as Victoria Diaz, and both Megan and Victoria over the what was it now? 2 weeks, right? Has it been 2 weeks since we've been back?
Almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost 2 weeks. They just returned from an event that we had. They were selected as super fans, we'll call it. That's what I think they deemed it. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Right. Olympus Super Fans, and they were contacted by Olympus to come out to San Francisco and shoot for a few days. And it was at the exact same time that the Visionaries got together. So we all one day got to shoot. I think we saw each other, a half night here or a half morning there, but one full day for sure. And what a great event. And to talk a little bit more about it, I think Jamie and I will probably, probably more than most people will. It's at times, but how important it is that we feel to be selected to be part of the Visionary program. And I think we always appreciate from our sense that Olympus really thinks and cares about what customers say. And I don't know if they showed it as much as they did now this last 2 weeks, but boy, they are really starting to show it. And this was really the second event, probably the biggest one. The first one was didn't go as large as this, but where they went out and reached out to super fans, and there were 10 super fans that they actually brought in to San Francisco to shoot, to use equipment, and everybody that came, and I'll let each of these, I'll let Victoria and Megan talk about it, but everybody that came was from differing parts of the country. Some people had never flown for 15, 20 years. Some people never flown at all in their lives and got there. So, but they're just fans of Olympus. And what I can always appreciate, and now I really see it from my side, is that Olympus cares about what their customers think. And they wanted to reach out to the ones that use the equipment. We'll say it incessantly, maybe is the word. That's all they use usually. And they post a lot about it. They're social media strong. They're out there doing things with the equipment, and that's how the 10 of you got selected. I know that because I know they reached out to a lot of us, and I think truthfully, if you look at it, I think all 10 were, if not all 10, at least 9 were Mirrorless Minutes watchers. So that says something right there. In case you haven't subscribed to the show yet, I'm going to tell you, you better do that quickly. Um, but let's start, Victoria. How about we start with you? And I think because it's sort of a funny story, maybe we'll see how funny it is. And when you first got the email to say, "Hey, we'd like you to come out to San Francisco," tell me what you thought about, and maybe even before you start, just tell us real quickly, because we'll get into a little more about yourself, where you're from, and what you normally do as far as social channels and reviews and stuff.
Sure. Pennsylvania. And I'm not originally from here, but I've been here for the past almost 10 years. And I've been using Olympus, I don't know how long now, over 5 years, I think. And yeah, I shoot everything. I'm not into any specific style of photography. I started out, when I was young, using like one of those little Vivitar like 110 cameras, So I shot film obviously first, and then over the years, when digital first came out, I bought my first digital camera was an Olympus. It's actually in my case back there. This little tiny thing that was like 1.1 megapixel. Yeah, so I started, after I met you actually in San Francisco, which I thought it was pretty ironic that this trip was to San Francisco. I got involved in the community on Facebook with Olympus and started getting into all the different channels that are there. And really said, wow, what a community this is. I never had it with my other brand. And I felt really a sense of family, a sense of community, and everybody was so nice and shared ideas, and no one felt funny about telling you how they got the shot, which I thought was great. And
not too snarky.
No.
Right.
And so one night I had a really busy day at work, and it was around 9:30 in the evening, and I was checking email, and this email came in, and it had been there obviously all day. And I was like, what is this? Olympus Super Fan Experiential. And I'm reading it and I'm going, wow, I've seen spam before, but this one's really good. Because we get so much, I'm just cynical that way. I don't believe anything I read. There was no Olympus logo, and it was from the agency, and I didn't really think it was real. So one of the super fans had posted, that a super fan that I know, Reba, actually, she had posted something earlier in the day. So I reached out to her and I'm like, is what you were talking about this email about a trip? And she goes, yes. I said, have you verified this? She said, yes. And I'm like, oh my God. So I was just freaking out. I was like, this can't be. I said, are you positive? And she said, yeah. And that's when I started reaching out to other people, and everybody was saying that it was true. So, so then I immediately, she's like, you better respond because they want to know by Friday. I'm like, okay, I'm not missing this trip. And I responded, and that was that. So that's how I found out, but I really didn't think it was legit.
Well, what's so funny about that is you weren't the only one. I'd say out of 10, I think I heard it 4 times. 4 different people go, I thought that was just spam. And I didn't look at it, or I left it alone for a day. And that's funny. I said, so they'll have to work on that next time to say, this is a real email. So please read.
At least put the Olympus logo or something in there, because when it was from the agency name, I didn't know who they were.
Oh, that's true.
And it was just, very, I thought, wow, this is getting really good. This spam, being that specific,
Well, and people don't know you work in the internet world, so you're a little bit more. Your ears are tuned up to it pretty good. So how about you, Megan? When you first saw it, what was your thoughts?
Well, when I first saw it, I had been out that day. It was actually on December 19th. And I remember that because it was my birthday. And I had been out chasing around a snowy owl on the beaches of Stratford, Connecticut. That's where I'm in the Connecticut area, and got a beautiful photo actually of this owl, and I felt like that was my present, from the universe. Like, what a great birthday! I saw a snowy owl, and I got home and checked email, and I felt the same as Victoria. My daughter, she's in college, and she had come home, surprised me for my birthday. So she was sitting here in the green chair behind me in my office. And I said, somebody wants to send me out to San Francisco, all expenses paid, shoot for Olympus. So I emailed you and Jamie and heard back right away. Jamie just said, I've been sitting on this for weeks. It's legit. So yeah, it was great. But I've been shooting Olympus for 4 years now, and my favorite thing to shoot is street photography, especially in New York City. And I'm fortunate. I'm close to Milford Photo here in Connecticut, and Frank Smith comes up usually once or twice a year, and gives a talk and shows images and does a photo walk, oftentimes at Yale University. And so that's where I became familiar with the Visionary program, and then figured out, they have a really great online community, especially on Facebook. There's so many groups. And so I started to get active with that. And just when I would share my photos from New York, I would tag Olympus in them just to say, hey, look at what I'm doing with your stuff. So that got noticed over time.
And it does. And I think that's something for, everybody to understand. If you're watching and you are active on social, I mean, I think one of the big things, and you want to talk about being active, we have, there's 4 great groups. I know that Jamie and I run, like the OMD EM1 Mark II enthusiasts. We have about 4,000, almost close to 5,000 people in that group. Pen F and, Micro Four Thirds
over there.
Hey, are you in? Jamie, join in.
Hey, I'm in. Jamie, join in. Yeah, I'm here.
Look at him, man.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm
Hi, Jamie.
probably not gonna Probably not going to look the greatest or sound the greatest.
No.
But I just wanted to drop in and say hi. I'm not one to miss a show if I can avoid it. So
right, yeah, he's going for the record.
Going for a record here.
What is behind
you? What is behind me? That's the Long Beach Hyatt.
Excellent.
Beautiful weather here. What's the weather like back east?
Just the same.
Just the same.
85.
Sunny, balmy,
Great. That's good to hear.
That's why
like
we're
I said,
all wearing t-shirts or sweatshirts.
Right. But like I said, I just snuck out. I'm working today at a convention here, but I wanted to sneak out and just say hi to Megan and Vicky, and thank you guys for coming on the show. And I'm going to wrap up my last couple of hours here, and I'm going to go out and shoot. I'm trying to get out and get some of this sunlight here before it's gone, leave my partner working at the trade show. So he doesn't watch the yeah, he doesn't watch the show, so he doesn't know I'm saying this about him. So I'm looking forward to watching the show when I get back up to my room here in a little while. You guys take care. Just wanted to say thanks again.
All right, man.
All right, man. Talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, I'm glad he got able to pop in. Now the record's not broken because he's been trying hard, I know, to keep the record. So yeah, and then Megan, actually, Vicky, you've been on the show before too.
Yes, I think it was episode 36.
You've been on to talk about her Magic Mondays project last. You say it was like show 49 or something.
I think it was before
something around that.
50. Yes.
So go back into the archives if you're watching and check out that show. And I know Vicky's on there, and you can catch Vicky. I'll tell you what, Vicky was so committed. And I don't mean that like she should be committed. She was so committed. I know her very well, so I'm not making fun of her. That she was at San Francisco. Peak Design opened their first retail store, right?
Yes.
She made it all the way out there because it's not in the city. It's not in the
it's in Hayes Valley.
It's in a suburb. Got to their grand opening, bought a bag, went back that night into her room and did a review on YouTube and had it up the next morning. I mean, that's a serious, reviewer. Holy cow. I thought you were joking when you said, I got to get up to the room and start my review. I thought that was a joke when you were
No, I wanted to get it out there. I wanted to get it out there when I was there. I love their stuff. I think their stuff is excellent.
Yeah, and that is really cool for sure. So, well, let me ask you, because I wrote down a few really tough questions tonight, and I know you guys are going to struggle with some of these. So we'll go back to Vicky, and so like this whole trip with the Super Fan show. So what, like, besides the concerns that you had that the email might not be true, what other, did you have any other concerns about taking off to San Francisco or anything like that?
I didn't, because in the early 90s, I lived in Redwood City, which is south of there. And so I was familiar with the city, and also my company has an office there. So I actually stayed at that same hotel the last time I was there. So I really didn't have any reservations. I was just really so humbled to be chosen, and was very, very excited to meet, I've met most of the visionaries, but there were some there that I had never met before. So I was excited about that. I was excited because I knew two of the super fans. I had met Megan before in a Philadelphia workshop that you and Jamie had, and I had met Reba out of Chicago. So I was really excited to connect with them again, and also just to meet other like-minded photographers. I mean, we have, although we may shoot different things, we have the same passion for photography and for the Olympus brand. So I was just super, super thrilled to go out there and just to hang out with everybody.
Yeah. And Megan, did you, and I know Megan, you went in, you were so happy. You got the heck out of Connecticut.
I did. I did. I asked Olympus if I could fly out a day early. And I'm glad I did that. Yeah. I tried to recreate a shot that you had done, a night shot with live composite, but it was late, it was raining, and there was no traffic, and you need some tail lights to get
unless
some
you're going to run up and get in a car and keep driving it yourself.
So that was a fail, but I did head out Thursday morning on my own for a couple of hours and did a little bit of street photography and rode the cable car and saw how they turn those. And yeah, so it was great. It felt like a Magic Monday, except it was a Magic Thursday in San Francisco.
You're right. You probably did have that same
I did. My same little indiscreet Eddie Bauer backpack, you know, doesn't look like much, you know.
Right. And that's a good way to travel in San Francisco.
Off I went. Yeah,
for sure. How about like your expectations when the whole trip was over? Did it live up, you think, to your expectations? That, you know, when you took off and got the email and all that stuff, what did you think, Megan?
I found it incredible. It was better even than I expected. I knew it was going to be quality. It was amazing to meet with all the visionaries. I got to speak to everybody, all the visionaries during that time. And then that group that they put together was amazing as well. And we had a real bond there. And it was nice that you and Jamie had started the Facebook group. Yeah. Because, you know, we bonded a little bit beforehand.
Yeah, I think so too.
Olympus was all out. They really did. The food was excellent, accommodations, limo to and from the airport.
That ride from the airport's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know Vicky was happy. I remember seeing a picture.
I took a picture too.
Yeah. Vicky usually goes to work like that every day if people don't know that.
Yeah. See, I work from home. I'm not used to that.
Yeah. In fact, I think Vicky said the next day she got back, she goes, I waited outside, but my ride to work didn't come.
I was so disappointed. I had to buy my own food and drive myself to work. There was nobody to shoot with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How about you? Your expectations met, you think, Vicky?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
From the moment I walked off the off the plane, and I was meeting Adam there.
Oh, okay.
And, so it was just funny trying to communicate with him because I knew what he looked like, but like we were at different terminals, and we got in that car and we were just looking at each other like, do you believe this? Like we just couldn't believe it. And then getting to the hotel and then starting to see people. And then we had the dinner that night. As Megan said, Olympus was just so accommodating. Everybody was so friendly. The Mullen-Lowe people were just, everybody was always, are you okay? Do you need anything?
Right.
Everything was coordinated so that, we had the rides to wherever we needed to go. They kept everybody on pace time-wise, so we weren't really waiting for people for long periods of time. The locations were great.
And I
very much exceeded my expectations. It was just, great.
Yeah, what I thought was interesting is like, I know Jamie and I mentioned this at the airport on the way back. We weren't sure how the 10 of you, even though we had started the Facebook page and we had a lot of communication, I think, back and forth, but we weren't sure, like the visionaries, we've been together for a few years, so everybody sort of knows each other, and you're on different conference calls during the year, but you guys got together and like it was a strong group. Like by the time we got there later in the day, I mean, you could just tell everybody was talking, and still continuing today. I see a lot more communication between the 10 of you, which makes it even more cooler. It's like a workshop that, because sometimes workshops, the mystique wears off, 6 months after or whatever, you're done. The workshop's done and you're back in your life, but you can tell everybody's going to make some good long time friends, I think, from this, because you got such a common bond with the Olympus equipment. And everybody says, hey, did you try this? You try this. And I know I learned probably more than I normally would from the visionaries, just because everybody tries different things and you go, I didn't even know it did that. So I got some new insights for sure. So what do you guys think, about maybe doing some screen shares? I'm not going to share much tonight. I'll wait. Well, we'll wait till the end. I only have 2 pictures and they're not from San Francisco, but I want these guys to go first. So we'll let's see. Who's the closest? Connecticut to Detroit, or I don't know, Philly. I have no idea. We'll just Vicky. I'm looking at you right now. We'll go with you. So why don't you go through your images and show what you got, and feel free to explain it. If you know some of the you don't have to know exactly the settings. If you do, great. Or if you did anything special for the picture, just like anybody, we talk to people, everybody would like us to sort of say what's what. So,
oh, absolutely. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we see it now.
Awesome. It works. Yay. Okay. So this first one, let me say the entire time I shot with the Olympus OMD EM1 Mark II and the 12-100 f4 Pro lens. That is the best combo. Whenever I travel now, I take that because I had that lens before going there. And I used to have I think it was the 40-150 weatherproof one, the small, small one, not the Pro lens. And I love that just for the range. But this one, it's killer. I mean, it's just, you'll see through the images, why I chose the images for a specific reason. But anyway, this one was just on the beach when we were on Baker Beach, which was one of my favorite spots. And, it's just the colors at that hour when we were there, and these two dogs were playing, and I love dogs, and these two dogs were playing, and I just like the color on them, and against the blue background, I just really like that. The settings on this one I was shooting at f8, 1/400th of a second at 80 millimeters, ISO 200. This one, I just followed them when they were walking the other way, and it was like one side of the beach was nice and clear and not foggy or anything, and you turned around and the sun was setting back there, and it was just great for silhouettes. So I like this image because I would have preferred a little more separation between the dog on the left and the woman, so that I could have had a little I would have preferred that, but I just love the silhouette, and then the shadow on the sand, and then the footprints, on the left side and in the image. This one was f8 2500, 34 millimeter, ISO 200. Again, all these are with the same lens.
Yeah.
This one, I added this one in because to me, this highlights the versatility of this lens. This was shooting straight down at my feet, and I was at 100 millimeters on this one with ISO 200, f8 1/250th of a second. And I don't know if it shows on the screen for you, but when you look through the bubble, you can see the grains of sand, and they are sharp.
I do now. Now that as soon as you said that, I went, oh God, look at that.
That's what I zoomed in on right away. It's amazing.
Yeah. This lens is just, I can't speak. That's why I didn't take it off the entire time. I did have the Pen F with me, and I was using the mono settings on that, and I used that more for when I was just taking pictures of people. And I love the Pen F. Right. But the combo of it's well balanced with the 12-100 on the EM1 Mark II. It's just a phenomenal combo, in my opinion. This one is, a lot of people got photos of these two surfers because they were standing there for the longest time. But I should have added the other photo here to illustrate something, in that this was shot with a digital zoom that's built into the camera. Maybe, Mike, you can explain a little bit more how that works.
Yeah, the 2x magnifier.
The 2x magnifier. Yeah. And so this was with the 12-100 with the 2x magnifier. I was standing way back. Yeah. If you zoomed back out, like from where I was, Reba was on the left-hand side. She was taking photos of these two also. So it was a much wider landscape view. And I always have one button on all the cameras I have that is programmed to that digital zoom, because you never know when you want a little more reach, and it's still a crisp photo, and you can't tell here probably on this broadcast, but it's sharp.
That's one of the things I'll jump in, even if you don't mind, is this. I'll tell you, I use this constantly in the streets, but everywhere really. I have that, just like you said, one button program. The JPEGs Olympus makes are so darn good, and then in the camera, the EM1 Mark II, they're amazing.
That's another thing to point out.
JPEG, yeah.
That's another thing to point out, Mike, because I don't know if people will realize that, is when you're using the digital zoom, only the JPEG shows the digital zoom. The RAW will be the original focal length.
Yep. Really easy to use, and just assign it to one of the buttons. There's all kinds of buttons on the EM1 Mark II.
Can't stress enough. Just when you need that little more reach, you want the shot, and maybe you don't care if it's, as accurate as crisp as it would be if you were using the native focal length, but you just want a little bit more. And this is the shot I wanted of these two just walking away, and their feet splashing in the in the little bit of shallow water.
This is one of those things where if you were a DSLR shooter They had that in the Nikons and the Canons. They were horrible. They would digitize and everything. If you doubled that, this just does not happen. This is the difference of mirrorless cameras. It is not the same.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
This next one is Muir Woods. And I believe we were talking, Megan and Reba and I were all around the same area, and we were talking about using the HDR function. And, you know, if I remember correctly, it just merges it right in camera. So you just goes, you know, shoots the shots, you know, and it merges it together, and you quickly get not an overdone HDR. This is like, this is the JPEG straight out of the camera. And I just love the filtered light, and, you know, it just in my opinion, it did a really good job of making the colors look good, and really, really like that feature. This one was at, what was the name of that? Oh, Battery Spencer, our first day, and you can barely see the bridge. The reason I chose this image, it has a little bit of some flare in it, and I didn't post-process it, but I would probably try and remove some of the green little marks there. But this is with the dramatic tone filter, so that's why the colors look the way they do. But I just really like exploring the in-camera filters that they have, because you can get some really interesting images when you choose to use those filters. And this was Alcatraz. I think everybody has this photo. But just, again, you know, I don't know if it comes across on the screen, but just how sharp this lens is. I mean, it's like you could see the tiny little wires and the holes between the, you know, the braiding of the wires. It's just like so super crisp. Really great lens. Did I go backwards? And this this is my last image. And again, all of those, the last one was ISO 800. I started forgetting to say my my settings at 1/80th of a second, a 5.6. This one is f5.6, 1/320th of a second, 38 millimeters, ISO 200. I chose this as my last image because this, to me, epitomizes the Olympus folks. They like to have fun. I just was walking by, and they were just being, you know, silly and like up against the wall. We're in Alcatraz, you know, and it captures the essence of what everybody was like on this trip. Everybody was just having a good time, you know, being silly, you know, being friendly, having fun. And, you know, it just cracked me up every time I see this, you know, Tracy and Laura, the ones in the middle, and Jennifer's on the end. And we can't figure out who the guy is on the left.
I know. Everybody was saying me. I know it's not.
I think it's Peter.
I don't know. I don't think Peter wears glasses.
No. Oh, is it Jeff Sweet?
I don't know.
Boy, it's a mystery.
It was like, name the man on the left. We don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was Eric, but Jennifer says that he wasn't there. But anyway, to me, this just like kind of is the icing on the cake of the whole time we were there. It's a fun image to me. It was a fun time. And it's something I will just never forget. It was just an awesome time.
Yeah. Those are awesome. So that was an in-camera HDR.
Yes.
I do not use that. Oh, I'm gonna have to use it. See, there we are again. I don't touch that.
And Megan, remind me. I think it was. I think there's a couple of them. I think it was HDR2.
HDR2.
Yeah,
I think so. And
yeah.
I have a similar image that I'll share.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great. That's awesome. Boy, what a great set, Vicki. And
you.
the 12 to 100, I'd say to me, it's like a prime lens. The way I shoot it is crazy. Lens. Awesome lens.
And everybody that was there that didn't own that lens was like, I'm getting this lens.
I know.
Would you agree, Megan? I mean, there's so many people who are like, oh my gosh, this lens.
Yeah, I can't say enough about it for sure. All right. So you're up, Megan.
All right. Let's see. So
I'll try to stay quiet so my face doesn't override your pictures.
All right. Are you able to see?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
all right.
I see.
So this is the same day that that Victoria shot that photo that she shared with all the fog and cloudy. You can't see the bridge. So waited, the bridge would peek out every once in a while, but I turned and looked, and this was actually the very twisty road that we drove up to get to where we were trying to shoot the bridge. And I looked back and I thought, well, that's a pretty picture. So, so I made the best of the fog and found this shot. I don't actually have my settings. I didn't think to write those down for you, but I do know that this was with the 12 to 100 at like 92 millimeters. I checked last night because I was talking to someone about this image, and I said, you know, I have the 12 to 40, but I was using the 12 to 100, and here's where that extra reach was just, you know, critical, because there's really not much of a crop at all on this, just a tiny trim on it. Next one is similar to Victoria's, and this is the one where I did try that HDR setting, and I just love the filtered light on this. And yeah, I just think it's like the enchanted forest. So this was Muir Woods. And then one of the super fans was Jeff Sweet, who lives out in the San Francisco area. And he took a couple of us for sunrise shooting. And we stopped, had just crossed this bridge and then got off the first exit and pulled into a parking lot there. Jeff wanted to try a particular shot. So I used live composite with the EM1 Mark II and the 12 to 100. And I shot this of the bridge. And I'm happy overall with how it came out. It was just kind of an impromptu shot. And this was sunrise. And this was the high res mode. Are you able to hear me, Mike?
I probably only muted, so
okay.
I don't want my face popping up. But
very good, very good.
I would love to talk about this one because I love it.
Okay, good. It was so silent. I was like, I hope I'm still on. No. Yeah, so this was high res, and I actually shot with Nam, who was a super fan for the very first event that Olympus did. And he was with us, and he mentioned using the high res mode, which I had never used before, but it did well with this. And you can see that the water is just a little bit soft because of that high res mode, because it's taking what, like 8 different images,
moving each one around the sensor. Yep. And it's the second iteration of it, and it's really gotten better. The first one, you know, you couldn't even really do water, but now you can do some of that stuff. And yeah, you can see the clarity. It's hard to, and it's so hard to tell on Google.
Yeah.
On Hangouts. But when you see that picture, I guarantee you, I know exactly what you're talking about, because I know Jamie shoots a lot like that. And I need to do that more often. And it's just like you said, I don't do it as much as I probably should, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It was phenomenal. Yeah. So I hope to blow this one up because it's a big file. And then we went to Alcatraz, and I decided to do a little more almost macro-ish at Alcatraz instead of trying to shoot the whole place or the building. So I just love the contrast here of very straight lines with the railings and the door, and then you have this nice rounded shadow from the light there. So kind of a minimalist approach. And then this may have been where Victoria shot the silhouette there with all the visionaries, but there was water on the floor. And so I took the opportunity to shoot it as a reflection, which I liked. This one I don't normally include like a seagull type picture, but this is the 12 to 100 lens at 100 millimeters straight out of camera. I did no editing on this shot, no cropping. And I just find the crispness of the eye of this seagull amazing. And even the catch light, it's clear as a bell. I zoom right in on this, and you can see the little fine feather on top of his head. Like, I don't know. This lens.
And that was the 12 to 100, right?
Yeah. At 100 millimeters.
Right.
And, yeah. The detail, it's so clean.
Yeah. And those crazy seagulls, God, they're gigantic. They're like from Land of the Lost or something.
Yeah. And tame as can be.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't very far from him at all. So This was shot with the 25 millimeter f1.2, the newer lens that Olympus put out. And I played with that for just a little while on this trip. They let me borrow it. And I thought, well, what does f1.2 really look like? And so I'm wandering around, and I saw this old, water spigot here at Alcatraz. And I could get almost as close as I can with my 60 millimeter macro lens with this 25. And I just fell in love with it on this one shot. I thought, this is amazing. I mean, you can even see in the lower right, you can see a little bit of a spider web, fine lines there. And the fall off at 1.2 is just amazing.
So can I say something about this lens?
That shot.
Yeah, I just wanted to say about that this photo is going to sell a lot of 25 1.2s.
I agree.
Because I looked at that and I went, why didn't I borrow that? It was like, it was like, that is, and I told Megan, I tried to recreate this. I have the 25 1.8 and I was like, let me see if my 25 1.8 can get close to this with my own faucet, Now, cannot.
Yeah.
This is a nice lens.
They're like magical, I swear.
It is magical. It is. I was super happy with this one. And then just a shot at Baker Beach, kind of a classic. And I love that we got some reflection there on the sand with the water.
That's excellent. Oh, I like that one.
And a silhouette. Yep. So those same two guys, I noticed them as well. And I thought this was fun.
Yeah, so you just put your body on the other side of them. Vicky was probably standing to your left or whatever, if I remember which way that would have been.
Yep.
But how cool, huh? Just to take a step. That's a great story and contrast, isn't it? Take a step 20 paces to the right or the left. Look at the photo you can get.
Yeah, the whole trip was like that. All the locations that they took us to, it was just, all you had to do was turn around and look what was behind you.
Right.
If what was in front of you, hey, the bridge was full of fog, but look what was to the side was that twisty road and an amazing shot. So
yeah. And the road's an amazing shot too.
Yeah. And then just to end, this was all of us on the bus.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yep.
I don't even know if I've ever seen that one.
You haven't. I thought I'd share it tonight.
All right. Yeah, that's all the visionaries and the super fans. We had a jam onto a bus, didn't we?
We did. We went all over. We did. And in color, we all are bright blue because the bus had blue lighting. So everyone was blue. So I made it black and white and just to try and make people look a little more normal.
Jamie, I see Alex making a funny face way back there.
Yeah.
Jamie's right behind him.
I
can see the corner of Jamie's head there. But
you can see Victoria on the back.
There's Victoria right above Scott Bourne's hat there.
So
that's cool. That's I would say you're right. Between Vicky's photo of everyone being arrested and that photo, that's when they were taking us to prison.
Yes,
literally, it probably was. So those are two great photos to end it. I like that. That's fantastic. I'm gonna jump in, share the two that I want to share. Except before I do this, I got to go and do this. Okay, I don't want the one to come up that is up first. There, now I feel better. Okay, let's come on, screen share. You guys did a great job. I don't know. I can't get mine to work. Okay, so it was Valentine's Day. I'm just gonna go cute, and then another picture about Valentine's Day. It has nothing to do. So, but I will say with the lens, this is with the 45 1.2. Man, that lens is just killer. Those 1.2s are fantastic. So there's not a day that goes by that Spencer can't make a great photo, which is really cool to have him around and a lot of fun. I got to try the drone. He'll probably scare him with the drone, but this is amazing lens to get. And then this last one, I'll tell you about it. It's a real quick story. That is my wife there, and she's going to be embarrassed that I put her on the show. But I figured if I could embarrass her twice with the same picture, it'd be worth it. So I ordered her yesterday. They surprised her at her work, where she works at a local court, and that's Paws, the mascot for the Detroit Tigers. And he came to her work, gave her tiger colored roses. As you can tell, they're orange, and a big card. And he had to go through all the metal detectors and everything at the courthouse to get in. So she was thoroughly embarrassed, and that was fantastic. So these pictures are not that I know taken with that Olympus camera. I'm pretty sure it's a cell phone, but by Pam Russo. So I'll say her name too as the photographer. But a real fun time. We had a blast with it, and I thought, well, here's a good chance to embarrass her twice. So it's Valentine's Day. You can do that, right? So those are the only two I wanted to share.
That's very sweet. Yeah. You set the bar very high. I think some of your friends were maybe.
And I've heard that. I've heard women be real happy at my office there. Like I've shown them. I've had people come to my office last day and say, "Show me the video. Show me the video." I said, "You never visit me any other reason." But anyways, and they're mad at their husbands, so I don't know if it was a good idea to show them the video. And then the guys are saying like, "Oh crap, what did I do?" So a lot of fun. And I think to end it, there's a couple quick things. We have one announcement, and then I want to talk real quickly, and we'll end up here because I know we've gone over, but it's for a great cause to go over because we got to see your guys' photos and they were fantastic. First, we want to remind everybody a couple workshop reminders. The San Francisco workshop that I do with Derrick Story, talking about San Francisco again, April 26, 27, and 28 is coming up. It is now open for public consumption. Before it was with just a register, like pre-registration, let's say, list. Now it's open for public. So go out there. I'll have links in the show notes for it. And then Mirrorless Adventures workshop, May 18th, 19th, and 20th. We just had another person sign up, so I think there's 2 spots left, and we do cap it. We will not go over, and that's one of the things we like to do is keep the group small. And it's May 18, 19, and 20. And then I'm doing one in Cleveland. If you're local to Detroit or in Ohio, it's just a one-night deal I'm doing with a good friend and mirrorless shooter, although it's not Olympus, but that's fine. It's that Leica brand. That's what we call it. It's really Leica, but we kid with them and call it Leica. We're doing he's in Cleveland all the time, knows the best places down in the flats to get some amazing shots. So we're going to do a workshop there at night. And so that's what I've got. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is we said last show, Jamie and I, that Scott Bourne, who's Olympus visionary, but also president of Skylum Software, said, "Hey, you guys just give away a copy of LUMINAR every show. I don't care." So, well, that's easy. We didn't have to be begged for that one. So we had everybody go out and post last week, and then leave a friend on Mirrorless Minutes, leave a friend's name, share a friend's name. And we put all those names together, went through a random organizer that an equation I found in Excel, which I'm real excited about now that I know how to do that. And put it out. And believe it or not, when you hear this, it's a Michigan guy that won, and it's Mark Miller. So if you are familiar with Mark Miller, Mark and Jamie have done workshops in Western Michigan actually together. So Mark, I think I probably have your email, but email me your email. I'm going to send it to Scott, and he'll send you back the code for a free copy of LUMINAR. And we are going to give away another one on the next show. So show 89, Jamie and I'll be back together. And what we'd like you to do, let's see, I wrote this down. I tried to come up with something fancy, but we'll see how it works. So for the next show, we want you to go over to the Mirrorless Minutes Facebook page. Make sure you've liked it, put your name there, but we want you to post a picture, since today's Valentine's Day. Love, hearts, cute dogs, anything that you might think of for Valentine's Day. If you got a silhouette of 2 people holding hands, I don't care. But it's got to get us a picture, and we'll select one And make sure you like Mirrorless Minutes Facebook page, and follow us. Do the same thing on the YouTube channel so and hit notifications when we start each show every other week. And to end it all, I think I just want to thank Victoria and Megan. You guys have been great co-hosts tonight. No hitches. Everything went like really super. We got on too early and we just BS'd, I think.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for asking.
And we will we'll put links to their other work that you can find them at also in the show notes, because they're not just about San Francisco, and you're going to want to see them. So until the next show, everybody, we will see you back in 2 weeks, and Jamie gets back from work and I get back from a little vacation. I can't wait to get out of the snow, and we'll see everybody soon. Okay. See you guys later. All right.
Thanks.
Take it easy.